What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to take a look at the new DOYLE Anvil from Harbor Freight. 65-pound anvil. This is cast steel, not cast iron like the Central Forge anvils were. It's really not a bad price. It's about $140, which is somewhere around $2 a pound, which for an anvil is pretty decent, especially a new one. But there are a few things to watch out for. I just got this a couple days ago. I ended up ordering mine online because the local Harbor Freight didn't have any in stock yet. And I would not necessarily recommend ordering this online. And this is even more so after seeing some other reviews that some other channels have done. It doesn't seem like it's very consistent from anvil to anvil, and you'd really benefit from looking at one of these in the store before you purchased it. So a couple features of this is, as I said, it is 65 pounds. It is cast steel. They claim an 80% rebound. I'm not set up to test the rebound here in any scientific way. And from other tests I've seen online, it is 80%-ish in some areas, and then closer to maybe like 50 to 60% in others, depending on what part of the anvil you're using. Now this does have a more traditional horn style, which a lot of people like. That was one of my main draws to it, is you don't have the wide horn like you see on some of the cast iron versions. The face is milled to a decent quality. It's not, a mirror finish or anything like that, but it is nice and flat and smooth. It does have a 3/4 inch hardy hole and a 3/4 inch pritchel, which is nice, and they are located up on the face of the anvil, not over on the horn as some others are, so that makes it a little bit easier to use without any sort of modifications. So first up, you've got a nice red painted finish here. It looks pretty good. It's definitely a nice looking anvil. It does have a riveted on nameplate here. I've seen some other tests where this has fallen off, so time will tell. Not a big deal if it does. So this view here, you can see you've got your 3/4 pritchel back here, your 3/4 hardy hole up here. These do go all the way through, and there doesn't appear to be much of a taper to those, so those should be pretty much the same diameter all the way through. Over on this end here, you can see this horn's got a nice shape and a nice taper to it, so that's going to give you a lot of varying diameters of curves you can put into things, and it really is a nice style horn. One thing that can be a plus or a minus, depending on how you look at it, is there are no holes in these feet, so you're going to have to come up with some clamping system to secure this if that's what you want to do. I don't think it's that big of an issue because I'm going to be moving this from outside to inside, so a clamping system is probably what I would do anyways. So we've seen some of the features and things. Now, one thing to mention is this paint goes all the way up the side. It's also coating the bottom of this horn. I think with hot metal, you're going to start to burn this paint a little bit. So I think I am going to eventually probably strip maybe an inch or so down on all sides here and then clean up this horn, just so I'm not having the fumes from the paint burning and stuff. One of the big issues with this anvil people seem to be having is there are people out there who have noticed that the face of the anvil has some spots on it. They almost look like stains or a slight discoloration, and what they've done is there's been pits in these castings, and instead of discarding the anvil or machining it down a little bit further, they've gone ahead and welded it and then smoothed it back out. That's going to create a difference in hardness between the true face of the anvil and that weld, and that can lead to some issues as far as durability goes. That is why I recommend not buying one of these online. At first, the reviews coming out for this were very, very good, but over the past several days, there have been many reviews that have found little issues like that. So I'm going to pull this up here. We'll take a look at the top of this one because I did find one in here. It's about right here next to the hardy hole. And then there are some other little pits and stuff on the horn as well as the face up here. I apologize. I had to go handheld for this to get this on camera, but it's still going to be pretty difficult to see. But right here is one of those welded spots. You can see a very faint edge here, a line kind of almost circular. This is a spot where there was a void or something and they welded it and then smoothed it back over. That's the only one I have found on my anvil, but other people have had like up to 6 or more of these, and that can become a big issue. The other thing you can kind of see, there's a lot of pitting on the horn or voids that didn't get filled from the mold. Same thing here. I've got one here, here, here. There's a nick here, and there's a few kind of spread out throughout the rest of this. Another issue on my anvil is this bulge here on the edge, so it's definitely sticking out this way. You can see it sticking out this way here as well. So that's not a big deal. I can probably clean that up and take care of that when I go ahead and strip the paint off. All right, so I guess the big question is, should you buy this based on these first impressions? As I said at the beginning of the video, I would probably wait until you can get your hands on one in a store. If you can go to the store, open the boxes, check the face, make sure you don't have anything that is terribly wrong, then you can do good for 140 bucks. You're not going to find anything that's this quality made out of cast steel in this price range. You're going to have to spend a little bit more or start looking for a used anvil, which can be very difficult to find. So I 100% would not recommend buying this online unless you are willing to deal with returning it and trying to get one that doesn't have any issues if yours does. So in my particular case, I'm going to keep this one. I'm not going to worry about the one spot. It's right here next to the hardy hole, so realistically you're not going to be forging right here, especially if you've got a tool in the hardy hole. And then the pitting and stuff, or voids, whatever you want to call them, is not going to be a big deal for me. I'm pretty much a beginner when it comes to this, so that's going to be the least of my worries. I've got a long ways to go before a couple little voids is really going to affect my work, so I'm going to live with it for 140 bucks, and I hope to get a lot of use out of it. I do think it is a good value. I think the DOYLE line is going to be a great addition to Harbor Freight, and I hope to see more in it. When I stopped to look for one of these, even though the store was out, I still had a chance to look at some of the other DOYLE vices and stuff, and they appear to be of a very good quality for the price. So if you want to get started blacksmithing, I think this is a good way to go. And if you want to start blacksmithing and need a forge, check out the brake drum forge video on this channel. It is a very cheap and inexpensive way to get started. That's also a fun project to build and kind of make your own. So look forward to seeing this in some videos here soon. I just wanted to get this first look out of the way before it was used and abused while I learned how to blacksmith. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you next time.